To be honest, I've kind of been trying to hide generators under the rug, and I've tried to design this course so that we wouldn't need to learn about them. But they're really hard to avoid in Python. They are really useful, but they just add a couple of hiccups to a couple of functions and methods. But I'll just give you a high-level description of what generators are. Python generators are special objects in Python that generate values. We've seen functions that create generators, like the .keys method or the map and filter functions, and so far we've just casted them to lists to get around using them. And that's a practice that I wouldn't actually recommend for real-world programming, but it allows us to kind of round some edges. So generators are objects, which I'll represent using this thing, and what they do is they allow you to ask for the next value by calling .next, and when we say .next for the generator, what it does is it does some work and spits out a new value. When we call .next again, it spits out the next value, and so on until it runs out of values to give back. And when it runs out of values to give back, it's just going to say that it's done. Now, unlike lists, it's coming up with these values on the fly, so when we cast a generator as a list, we're asking it to create values, and as it generates these values, it's adding them to a new list that we're creating. And we keep adding items to this list until the generator runs out of values, and in the end, we get a list back as our result. So when we say list of dictionary.keys, we do that because dictionaries.keys gives us back a generator, and by casting it to a list, it allows us to work with a list instead. Note that we can just put a generator object in a for loop, and Python will actually do the right thing. So if we wanted to, we could loop over every key in dictionary.keys, and we wouldn't need to cast this as a list. But in this class, again, I'm just casting as a list every time that I get a generator to round some edges. So generators in Python are objects that generate values. Dictionary.keys, map, and filter all return generators, but in this class, I've just been casting them to lists. Again, a practice that I wouldn't recommend for real-world programming, but it does help us get around some weird things that generators do.